Well, we're back in the barn, as I promised. Like I say, hopefully, well, as far as the barn part of this goes, it'll definitely be finished up tomorrow, because all we gotta do is set this post, which I just started shooting some primer on. I'm up high enough here that it'll be dry and we can put stone on, and I left the center section dry, so I got something I can turn it. But it'll be dry enough it'll have paint on it high enough up that we can set it in the hole, get stone in it on dry paint, and then I'll just have to do this center section tomorrow. And it'll be done after we set it. And then the other thing I'm gonna do, I was wanting shelves to to kind of organize some of these pipe mount implements, and I've been looking at like steel, for lack of a better term, pallet racking. It's not like heavy enough to be pallet racking, but that heavier style of knockdown shelving. And then I got to thinking, well, and then I talked to that buddy I told you guys about, that they're cleaning the farm up, and they're already gone. So I got to thinking, it's like, you know what, I got enough scrap lumber laying around here. Actually, it's not even scrap, most of it's still whole lumber, but I got enough 2x4s and 2x6s and plywood and whatnot. I can just make my own dang shelf and it'll be what I want. So yeah, tomorrow we're gonna set that post and get a shelf built and get some of these, or get this kind of organized, which I think it'll eventually be moved to that corner. Because the more I think about it, the more it's like, you know, for what I'm doing now with this building, this door doesn't even really necessarily need to be here. It's just kind of in the way more than anything else. So it's, and you got your access door there, you got a door here for the milk house, you got a door through the milk. You don't need 3 doors to get down in the basement of this barn. So it's almost like, well, when we jack this corner up to fix that post and fix the stone right here, do you just block this wall shut and or block this door shut and just eliminate it? And then I could take the shelf that's going to be here and put it here in this corner, since you can't really get anything of any size in this corner anyway, because you can't make the turn. And then that would free up all this area. So I don't know, just spitballing ideas at this point. But in order to get this post set, we have to eliminate this wire, because the post is going to be here, and there's not enough flex in any of this to get it far enough over to avoid that top plate. And I'm not using that light socket anyhow, and when this all gets rewired for LED shop lights down here, it doesn't need to be there anyhow. So I'm gonna have to, well, we'll kill the power, and I'll bring my big work light down, because as much or as tempting as it is to just cut the wire and tape it off, I don't want to burn the barn down, so we'll do it right. Alright, took a second, shot my first coat of white on. I probably should have waited a touch longer, but I'm impatient. That's why I'm not a good painter. But we can come over here. Oh, wait. I ain't even gonna bother pulling the fuse. We turn the switch off and everything will be fine for the minute that I'm gonna have this thing tore apart. Shut this, try to keep some of the moisture out of here. It's snowing again, as you can obviously tell. We'll see what it actually ends up doing. It's supposed to not really turn on here in a couple hours, and we're supposed to be getting up to 1 inch an hour is what they said, what they're telling us. Tell you what, this light's slick. I had a buddy I went to college with, got one for his dad for his birthday earlier last year, And he sent me a picture of it. It's like, man, I need one of them. So that was one of my Christmas presents. I mean, it's bright. And it's a tower light, so it's a tripod. It's got 2 telescopes. You can adjust your brightness. It's got 3 brightness settings. This runs off of I got a 5 amp hour XR battery in there right now, but haven't really had it long enough yet to determine how long it'll run off of a battery, but I'd say it ought to do pretty decent. I think you're looking around, you're looking about where I'm working. Where to put the screwdriver? Seriously, right there. Don't mind me. Just loosen my tools. They're always right where you set them last. And before we break the bulb. Of course you're gonna be, that one's gonna come out. This one's gonna be difficult. Are these gonna come out? Oh yeah, those will turn. Okay, well, that one's already been boogered up once in its life anyhow. And I'll go get a bigger screwdriver and see if that'll do the trick. There we go. Okay, what kind of a mess do we got going on here? Okay, I got everything unhooked. This is the first junction box I've run into in here where somebody actually took the time to solder the wires together. So that made a bit of a mess. And while we're here, I think we're just going to undo that side too, since I don't even have a bulb in it. If it'll come undone. Okay, well, I guess that side's just going to get cut because the seal type doesn't want to come loose. Not that it matters none. With the The wire gone, it can't go anywhere anyhow. Unless I can get lucky and that's got everything but the jacket pulled out, so good enough. Okay, hopefully we still have illumination. I had to change the socket when it was all said and done because when I was working on it, one of the lugs fell off, the one that was on there. Hopefully. Sweet. Okay, so now I can clean up all my, well, yeah, I ain't gonna bother taking that thing all the way off. I'll just cut the wire off and leave it hang there for now, and or will I? Yeah, I'll just leave it hang there for now so I don't gotta move nothing, and I'll take care of it later this week. Well, I'll get the wire cut back and call her good for the time being. So, with that being said, I'll finish this up real quick and go up to the house for a little bit so I don't try to shoot another coat of paint on this prematurely, and I'll come back down here a little bit later and shoot one more coat, and because that one took 2 and it looks fine, so 2 ought to do this one. But I guess we'll catch you guys tomorrow when we set that post. And for the first time since I've been here, there are no longer any jack posts in the basement of this barn. That is so nice. So I had to shoot a little bit of touch up down there on the bottom where we scratched it, sliding it into the hole, and then I shot primer here on the center. So let that tack up a little bit. I got my level string pulled down, so I got to get my blocks taken off and get some stuff just out of here that doesn't need to be out of here. Them jack posts can go away, and I think I might take the pull Super 55 and the North Brother out to make some room. And while we're waiting on paint to tack up so we can put stone in that hole, we'll start looking at building a shelf, I guess. All right, guys, put a white shot on there. You little bastard. Come here. It's too cold yet for bugs. I don't want bugs. So I did a little bit of rough measuring here. I got plenty of room to put in 2 8-foot shelves. I'm at about 20 foot to that door from the front of the wall, so I got plenty of room. I think I'm going to start with 1 and see where that gets me. I know for sure I got enough stuff to build 1, so basically a 4x8 shelf with the shelf at 4 foot tall to get over top of these planter units, and then 4 foot deep off the wall is going to put it like right here. So I'll go get some lumber down here and see what we can come up with. All right, there's a shelf. My plan was, I had this, it's not one, I don't know what they did. It's from leftover from the barn. They had ripped ripped something off of a 2x4 for something. And I thought it was 20 foot long, and it wasn't. So my plan was I was gonna put one here and one here and put a lip. That way nothing could just go rolling off the front or back or whatever. And I didn't have enough to do front and back, so I guess next time I'm doing something with the radial arm saw, I'll have to cut another one. But anyhow, it's, I mean, she's plenty stout. I got 2x6s for legs, and I wrapped them around the corners, and I got gussets, and these ones are on this side are short, so I wanted to keep as much open room down here as possible. And it's 4 foot from the floor to the bottom of here, so should be plenty big. Might end up, since might take and cut some pieces and go down the bake just to put a little bit of a lip on top. That way nothing can go nowhere. This plywood is the stuff that I was using to block that hole, and it's kind of it wasn't in the greatest of shape, but I got it pulled down decent enough. I figured might as well burn it up on something, because you really can't do a whole lot with it. So it makes a good enough shelf top. So I will clean up my scraps here, and we will dig some stuff out of the corner and shove that over where it's going to go. And there we go. That freed up a little bit of floor space. Now I need to build another one, a smaller one, to go there in that corner, and then I can do the same thing, get the plows for the cubs and that sickle mower and those drag sections, and get stuff all those right here in this corner. But this will do for now. So, supposed to have a guy coming. He's been telling me he's going to come get these things, and they'll be out of here. I got a guy coming. You know, a viewer's going to come. Keeps telling me he's going to come get those. I got a viewer says is coming to get that Army Engineer Toolkit box. Obviously those turf tires went away. I had a guy that had been talking to me and him hawing about it finally showed up with cash one day, so those are gone. And then I had another local guy come and take that 18426 single that was back there, so now I just got to find a different home for these tanks, because I don't like them down here. Now that there's stuff moving in and out, don't want to back into them and smash them. Might at least for the time being, sweep a spout out, throw them up in the loft. And the other thing I want to get done, it ain't nothing that's pressing, but I want to get it done at least before I do start or get straw going for this year. So I want to build a trap door to cover this hole. That way when I'm doing straw and stuff, you can shut the door and keep all the mess upstairs, because it wasn't too big of a deal before when straw would blow down here and there was nothing down here, so it was easy to clean up. Now that there's going to be equipment and stuff down here, you don't want that happening, so need to seal that off. Or, well, yeah, make a door, whatever. But that can wait, so I guess I'll get some stone. I had those bark marks that were down there keep wanting to not cover up. I had to throw a third coat of paint on them. I think I finally got them, so I'll fill that hole full of stone tomorrow. And this part of the barn saga will officially be wrapped up for the season, because it's time to move on to bigger and better things. So anyhow, I guess finish sweeping up my mess and put the tractor and spreader away, and we'll call her an afternoon. So that being said, I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Also, real quick, something I was going to touch on and forgot about. I was actually doing a little looking at concrete, and this barn is roughly 30 by 40. The basement's obviously going to be a touch narrower because you lose the thickness of the walls. I'm guessing it's going to be a foot to a foot and a half per dimension. Narrower and shorter in here. Have to actually measure it and find out. But I was figuring on a 30 by 40 slab, 4 inches thick. Came out to rough, not quite, I think it was not quite 15 yards of concrete. And figuring $175 a yard, which I think concrete's actually come down a little since this summer, because all the road construction and the Amazon warehouses that were eating all of the raw materials up around here this summer, I think are finally done. So I think concrete has come down a little bit, at least locally. But I was figuring on $175 a yard. 15 yards came out just a tick over $2,600 worth of concrete, which I was kind of pleasantly surprised. I figured it was going to be a lot more than that. And figured, I don't even know if you'd have $1,000 for the rebar in here. You might be able to, probably a 2-foot grid for as light of stuff as I'm gonna be driving in and out of here. You might even be able to get away with a 3-foot grid, but probably figure on a 2-foot grid. So I don't know if you'd have $1,000 for the rebar down here or not. If you did, it probably wouldn't be much over that. And then I don't know if it would, as hard pack as the dirt is, you could probably grade it and pour right on top of the dirt. Otherwise, get a load of pea gravel or something to put a couple inches of pea gravel in for a base, to pour the concrete over. But either way, I bet you could have this floor in here for not much over $4,000, which, to be honest, I was figuring out a lot more than that. When I started doing the math, I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, man, I probably could have swung that this year, but it was one of them deals also where this project is also getting drug out a lot further than what I initially intended anyhow. So it was better to just stop where we stopped and do what we did and get this part done, and then we can worry about the floor at a later date. But really, $4,000 for a floor down here is not that hard to swing, honestly. I figured it was going to hurt a lot more than that. So, which I was not expecting. I never figured this project would turn into, well, we've been working on this about 3 months. I think I started before Christmas. And I can't remember if we're up to 13 or 14 videos by, and I never figured that it would have turned into what it did, because you think about it, you looked at it, it's pretty simple. Knock a hole in the wall, put a door in, and set a couple posts. And it just kept snowballing, and having to wait on material and stuff didn't help none either. But we got her done, and it turned out pretty good. So anyway, I wanted to touch on the floor real quick, because I'd been doing the math, and I was actually kind of surprised at how little it was going to cost to get it in here. So it'd just be a matter of, I'm pretty sure my boss's Bobcat will fit in here with the floor at this level. So if I can get my boss's Bobcat for a weekend and bring the bucket and the forks in here with it, and it would probably not be that hard. You go in here and chunk the concrete out with a saw, you know, grit it into 5 foot, 6 foot squares, whatever works out best, and bring the forks in, pick the slabs out, take the bucket, dig in till you need to get to the next set of slabs, pick the slabs out, and just it really probably wouldn't be that hard. The worst part would be busting it away from the walls, because if it's anything like what, especially this side, if it was anything like this corner was, that could turn into a chore. But anyhow, yeah, I just want to touch on the floor real quick, and so there's that. So that's actually it for this one. We'll actually catch you guys on the next one.